In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can get great reviews and testimonials in Facebook groups and on social media. For those of you who don't know me or have only just come in contact with me, I'm Sal Jade and I'm a best-selling instructor of tarot and psychic healing courses on Udemy and on the Psychic Healing Academy. This video will help you discover why this topic is so important to your success as a professional reader. Understanding the psychology and complexity of giving away free readings for reviews and how you can make sure that you're having the best experience. Heart-connected ways to get great testimonials and reviews and build long-term loyal potential clients. What a 5-star reading should look like and how to get them. And better ways of getting likes and social media traction than giving away free readings. Now, there are tons of tips and information in this video, and you don't have to process or act on it all at once. Like, even so far, some of the things I've talked about, you may be like, oh my goodness, I don't know what any of that, the psychology and the complexity of free readings, what does that mean? You don't need to incorporate every single thing I say in this video at once. You can just start by just getting a few tips and starting to implement them. And also keep in mind some of these things that I say you might not agree with and you might have had a different experience with. So please just take what works for you. So I created this video because I have witnessed a lot of the challenges that beginners face firsthand from Facebook groups that offer free readings, whether in my own groups. So I have 2 private study groups that go with the courses that I mentioned previously, How to Be Psychic and Tarot Mastery is with Tarot Card Success. So they're for students who are enrolled in those courses. And I also have a more open group, which is called the Psychic Healing Hub, that is specifically for professional healers and readers and students that have done my psychic business courses, and also for students that have completed a large part of my intermediate and higher level courses. Through running these groups and also being in lots of other groups myself that offer free readings, I've really seen how beginners can get incredibly demoralized and upset and even angry and frustrated and often be taken for granted. And so I wanted to show you how it is you can start building up your business with reviews and testimonials without having these negative experiences. I also wanted to share with you some of my own experience and mistakes that I made when I was starting out to help you avoid the mistakes so that you won't give up. Because I know in my experience in the beginning, there were many times I wanted to give up because I was incredibly confused about how to build up my business and how to give away free readings and how to do it in a way that was honoring myself but was also building my business. And I wanted to share with you how I overcame becoming a beginning reader and some of those beginning reader challenges to becoming a full-time reader and running an online business that I love. So for those of you who aren't currently in How to Be Psychic or Tarot Mastery, so say you've just started to join or you just wanted to join or you're not in the group at all yet, when I first started my study groups, it was just primarily used for exchanges of readings and people who wanted to give away readings and get private feedback. And that was my whole original mission and intention, was that I wanted people to have a really safe and supportive environment where they could practice and build up their confidence. And probably about a few years back, people started offering readings in exchange for Facebook reviews. And I can remember I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable about this at first. It didn't really quite sit with me right. And I could kind of already foresee a lot of the problems that I thought were going to crop up from doing this. But it seemed that a lot of people wanted to do it. So I let it slide and I let people go ahead with it. But eventually in the last month or so, I've had to remove this option for people because so many people were complaining and so many people got confused. And that was for the people that were offering the readings in exchange for Facebook reviews, but even people that were taking up those offers. And a lot of readers were feeling discouraged and demoralized. And it seemed like this was a really rough start for people who were trying to start a beautiful business that they were passionate about. So I had to remove this option, and so I've created this video so people that want to be able to build up the prospect of getting reviews and testimonials in Facebook groups have a way to do that. So just to share with you some of the less than nice experiences that I've seen in my group and in other groups for people who offer free readings in exchange for reviews. They can get ghosted, they can get left a bad review, They can get left a tiny 1-sentence review like that was a great reading after giving someone a 1-hour reading. They can get blocked on Facebook when they try to follow someone up for a review. They have people play the victim. So excuses come up like, I'm sorry, I've been busy, or sorry, I broke up with my boyfriend, or I'm sorry, this has happened to me, and many, many more. And sometimes there are legitimate excuses, but in my experience, it's usually 80% of the time people come up with these excuses. 20% of the time, it's a legitimate excuse. They can often be doing it to multiple readers in the same group with the same question while the review is still outstanding. And I'm sure you can understand how disheartening that would be if you were someone who gave someone a free reading in exchange for a testimonial or a Facebook review, and they didn't get back to you, and you sent them a reminder and you felt like, oh, maybe they're busy, and then suddenly the next day you see someone else in that group pop up and do the same thing and say, I'll give you a reading in exchange for a review, and they take up that offer. And you can imagine how that would feel, seeing that someone who owes you reviews is actually still obviously not busy enough that they can't take up more free readings. So again, I don't want to scare you. I don't want you to feel like this is a horrible world in the on Facebook. I'm running as far as I can from this. There are a lot of ways to prevent this happening, and that's what I want to share with you now. And there are so much better strategies to getting reviews and testimonials that will cause you much less anxiety and give you a much higher and better result with starting your business. But first, before I go into some of these tips, this is incredibly important to understand. And again, without freaking out, I'm going to give you some background information about the psychology of free readings. So there's a lot of complexity, and it's really important to understand the psychology of how free readings work, especially on Facebook groups, more than any other kind of environment. So what most beginners don't realise when they're starting to learn and starting to grow a tarot or psychic business, most beginners think, oh great, I'll just go out and give free readings and people will give me great feedback and then I'll get testimonials and my business will start. And it's really not as simple as this. And if you are not understanding this from the start, it really can cost you a lot of time. It can emotionally drain you, and it can even cost you money. And I know I didn't realize this when I started learning to do tarot readings and psychic readings and healings. And I definitely didn't realize this when I started doing a business. Like some of how it works with free readings, I just didn't understand, and I made a lot of errors. So the first thing that it's really important to understand when you are offering to give free readings, whether in my group or in anyone's group, is the difference between reviews and feedback, because this can quite often trip readers up. And it's really important to be clear in your communication, because sometimes people won't know when they're reading your post exactly what it is you want back when you are giving them the free reading. So a public review and a testimonial is very different to feedback. So feedback is something that's private and is helping you learn. So a public review, if you say, I will give you a reading in exchange for a review, that's something that someone does where you are growing your social proof. You're intending to earn income. So your whole priority behind it is to get an actual public testimonial or public review that you can use. Whereas the word feedback is actually often more a private thing. So it's something that you're doing that is one-on-one, and they might send you an email or a message back to give you actual private feedback that can help you improve your tarot or psychic skills, either for your own spiritual guidance, for fun, or to eventually start a business and earn side income. So you're just actually looking to improve your skills when you're asking for feedback. But a lot of people don't get this when they are offering in groups or when they are actually taking up offers, what the difference is between those two things. And something that you'll learn really quickly if you're very new to this is that you will never run out of people who want to take up your offer for free readings. There will always be dozens and dozens of people that see the word free readings and will jump all over it. But the problem with this is that a lot of the time they're not aware of your intentions. They're not aware of your motivation. They might not even know that you're trying to build up a business and that's why you're giving away the reading. They just see an offer for free readings and they think, oh great, free readings, or they think, help, I need a free reading. And they might even be hunting for free readings. So they don't realize a lot of the time that you're doing it for these specific readings. They're just blinded by the word free readings. And sometimes people are desperate for answers, and this can lead them to jump on anything that will bring relief. I've seen this time and time again, that people will often see the word free and just completely lose perspective. Like free juice in the supermarket, people will run up and line up to get free juice, even if they're not really that into juice or they're not that thirsty. free ice cream in exchange for surveys. Like, I've seen people line up around the block to get a free ice cream and agree to give a survey at the end. And I've seen them walk away with those surveys clutched in their hand and ice cream in the other hand. And you know that probably a big percentage of them are not going to complete that survey. Once the instant gratification hit from the ice cream has worn off, some of them will go, oh, I'm too busy, or I'll do that later, or they shove it to the side, or it might even just get lost conveniently somewhere along the way. Or even free wine. Like, I know even myself, I've gone into bottle shops or wine cellars, and even if I don't like that particular wine, like I never used to like Chardonnay, and if it's offering it for free, I would still go up and trial test it because it's free. And I think that is because our media and our society train us that there's just never enough, and that we're never going to have enough. And so we see free and it really gets our attention. And one of the other sad things about free reading groups and any groups that offer free readings is that they can really attract desperate energy, like people who are hunting for solutions at any cost. And these people may be so blinded by their own pain and their anxiety and their fear that they don't realize, like they're in so much pain, they don't realize that they're actually damaging you by not honoring the review or honoring what they've agreed to give you in exchange for your time and your love and effort and support that you've given them. Now, please, before you start getting discouraged, again, I'm encouraging you to keep going, keep working through this because there are solutions. Please keep in mind that this isn't even just an experience that beginning readers have. So I've talked about before in some of my seminars about how I had been reading for nearly 5 years when I took my How to Be Psychic course online. So I used to run this How to Be Psychic course as an 8-week course in Manly in Sydney as a workshop that ran for 8 weeks. And then I thought, hey, I'm going to take this online. And I discovered Udemy and I put it online, and I was so excited about how well it was doing. And I thought, okay, hey, a great idea is maybe I'll start offering a raffle every month where I give away 10 free readings for everyone who buys it. Now, back then, that was actually a very good business model because this was in the days before Udemy started massively discounting courses. So when I first got started on Udemy, most courses weren't discounted for more than 50%. So my course was $97 back then, and it would often sell for $48, $49, $50, sometimes higher. And so it was a decent business model for me to think, hey, if I give away 10 free readings, that's a good return on my investment. However, it comes the however part. What I didn't realize, and keep in mind, I'd been reading for 5 years. I had clients booked up in advance, so I had a lot of confidence with how I was reading back then. And I remember the first month I did the raffle and I gave away the first 10 readings. And only 3 people got back to me and even thanked me and acknowledged me out of 10. And I can remember I went into this massive insecurity. I was like, did I give bad readings? I had to go and reread them all. I thought, have I lost my gift? What's going on? And I was a little bit freaked out. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe they're busy. And so I reached out to a couple, and then a couple kind of got back and went, oh, yeah, I got it. Thanks. Or thanks, it was great. And that was it. And 5 of them just never got back to me. And I can remember being really quite hurt, obviously. And I thought, oh, that's weird. Okay. And I thought, well, maybe it's just busy time of year. Went to the next month and did the same thing. And this time again, it was like 4 or 5 people got back to me, and not even, and others barely thanked me. And I can remember thinking, this is not great. And I was still giving great readings at home to people. So I knew I wasn't losing my gift. And then the 3rd month it happened again, and I went, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And then Udemy went on to massively discount the courses to under $20, so it didn't make sense for me to keep giving away the free readings. But I learned then, I thought, okay, giving away free readings doesn't necessarily mean people are even going to be necessarily grateful enough to thank you. And that kind of floored me. I was really quite shocked and surprised. And again, this was my first experience in the online world, and I was really, really quite stunned. So please don't take it personally if it's happened to you, because I know that even experienced readers it can happen to in the online world. So let's go into why people don't leave reviews, even when they said they would. So with reviews, it can be even more complex than trying to get private feedback or even just getting a thank you. And that's because many people don't realize that the review is going to be public when they take up the offer. And you might think, how can they not realize that? But it's not often until they get sent a link to Facebook that they suddenly get shy about the idea of their face being associated with a psychic reading. Like, they might not want their other friends to see that they're getting psychic readings. They might not want someone they know to stumble across that they've given someone a review who's a clairvoyant or something, or a tarot reading. And so for them, they suddenly get a bit paralyzed and freak out and think, oh, I can't do this now. What if my mum or my boss or someone sees that I've had this psychic reading? So they kind of back out, and they might, unfortunately, ignore you or block you or just, put you off because they're freaking out a little bit. Some people don't know how to write the review, and that's really understandable because it can be confusing to write a review on a reading. And they might think, well, what if I get it wrong? Like, they often can be like, well, what should I say in the review? And this can really stump people. So say, for example, they got, like, as a reader, you got most of the things right. Say you got all these things, information right about what's going on in their life, but there was one really big thing that you got wrong. Like they said, and I can see you've got 2 children, and you're like, actually, I don't have any children. And they go, well, you got everything else right, and it was an amazing review, and it's really helped me, but you did get that wrong. So what do I do? Is that a 5-star review? Is it a 4-star review? Is it a 3-star review? And people start to get a little bit confused because a lot of people genuinely do want to be nice, and they genuinely want to give you a positive review, but they don't want to be dishonest. And the moral dilemma comes in where they feel like, well, I don't want to write the negative thing that I felt like they really didn't nail what's going on in my job, or they really didn't get that right, but I really want to support how well they did on all these other things. I'm a bit confused. I might just not say anything. I know it sounds confusing that you think people would do that, but I know even myself, I've been to restaurants and I've done that. I've been like, well, I love this and this and this, but they did this really badly. I didn't like the dessert, but I don't really want to mark them down. And I get into such a head spin that sometimes I end up going, okay, well, I'm just going to leave that and do it at a later date. And I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people in these situations of writing reviews when they've been given something for free. And the other confusing thing that happens with reviews for tarot readings and psychic readings is that they might suddenly realize, how can I review it when it hasn't come to pass? So most people who are coming to you for a reading are coming to you to get an answer about something that's going to be happening in the future and hasn't happened yet. And this leaves people a bit unsure and confused as a beginner, because it's really hard to navigate or understand that, well, then the future's like, they might be asking, okay, am I going to get married? And they might be single. So they're like, well, that might be, yes, I feel like that might be happening in 18 months. You'll meet someone, da, da, da. And then they go, oh, well, how am I going to review that? That's 18 months away, and you want your review back within 7 days. So I'm going to share with you the tips on how to get around this and how to make sure you're maximizing your readings so that you do get the 5-star reviews. But as you can probably see, it's challenging to leave a review on something that actually hasn't happened yet, when that's why you asked for the reading in the first place. Now, the other thing, and I mentioned this previously, is people can be in so much pain when they are looking for readings. And unfortunately, and this is just part of being a psychic or a tarot reader, is that often people will just want you to give them all the answers without doing any work themselves. And you'll often find that things like psychic chat lines will attract a lot of these people. Free reading groups are a massive magnet for instant gratification solutions. So people who just want you to tell them straight away that it's going to be okay, or they're going to get back together with their boyfriend, or they're going to get a job next week. And unfortunately, sometimes a reading that you give will actually require quite deep and quite reflective needs and a process. And there could be some healing or a soul journey this person needs to go on before things start looking better. And if you start sharing that with someone, they can react really negatively to that, because they're just like, I just want you to tell me yes or no, or I just want you to tell me that I am going to get married next year. I'm just, they want these really specific things, and they basically want you to wave a magic wand and make all their problems go away. And so when you don't do that, when you give them a reading, they can often become a little bit angry, they can get hostile, they can get resentful, and they might even doubt you, because you might be talking to them about all the spiritual work they need to do, and they're like, just tell me yes or no, am I getting a job next week? And you're trying to help them. So I further explore how to deal with this. So if you've come across this in the past, or if you find as your journey as a reader, you come across potential clients that do this, that behave like this. I explore this in much greater detail in my intermediate and higher level courses on Udemy. So in my How to Give Career Readings and Life Purpose Readings course, in my Love Readings, Give Psychic Love Readings with Ease course, and in my Psychic Readings Intermediate course that deals with oracle cards and spirit guides. And I go into how to deal with those kind of issues in those courses, and I'll give you a couple of tips later. But if you found that this is happening to you, or if it starts happening to you, these courses are great for showing you how to deal with clients that become really hostile or just struggle with what you're communicating with them. Now, people can also nitpick and be a little bit unreasonable, and I'm going to hold myself up now as a bastion of ridicule. Take a moment whenever you get a chance to go and read some of my hilarious Udemy reviews. Some of my 1-star reviews will share with you why you should never take some of this stuff personally. So the majority of people who leave me reviews are mostly amazing, kind, generous people who leave reviews. And if you're one of those people who's ever left me a review, thank you so much, because I couldn't make courses without you. But occasionally I will get a hilariously bad review. Or sometimes I'll get no reviews, or occasionally, as I said, a really low review. And it can leave me feeling quite flawed, and it can leave me feeling hurt. And keep in mind, I've been doing this for a very long time. So I understand as a beginner, it can be even more intense. And as I said, this might have already happened to you. So just take solace in this to give you an example. And again, I'm not saying that my tarot card success course is for everyone. There will be some people who won't resonate with it, and that's totally fine. But sometimes I can get super critical reviews, and people will take stars away over tiny little things. Like, I know over the years I've gotten someone reduce the stars down to 3 stars because I made a few typos in some of the 10 hours of lectures. People have often gotten really angry with very shouty capital letters. There's been maybe one thing I've said they didn't agree with. And over the years, people have not liked my voice. People have said, you're too repetitive. People have said, went on and on. People have said it's not long enough, it's too short. And these kind of things do lower your algorithm. They really do impact upon your ability to keep making courses, or in your case, to be able to get sales and attract clients to your business to give readings. And I know personally, sometimes I want to throw in the towels when I read those reviews. I feel like, and I doubt myself, and I go back and look at it all and start questioning myself. And what I've had to do over the years is just focus on my gorgeous reviews and the people that have supported me and who've already encouraged me, and just know that you can't please everyone. And that's part of being in any industry. Like, people even criticize Steven Spielberg's movies. Like, just know that that will happen to you. Know that at part of along the way, when you are getting any kind of opportunity for people to publicly review you and you can't moderate it, that's going to happen. And to just find a way to keep a positive mindset and focus on those gorgeous reviews that other people have given you. So now I'm going to put the shoe on the other foot, because I think it's important to also represent people that have been in Facebook groups, whether it's mine or others, who may have had a different experience. So these are people who have taken up offers to get a reading in exchange for giving a public review. And I've seen firsthand that some readers can have an unrealistic expectation of what a 5-star review should be. And I've seen readers over the years. So in my group last year, I had someone publicly vent in one of my groups about how angry and disappointed they were that they'd given this reading to someone, and they said I poured my heart and soul into it, and the person refuses to give me a review. And I got really anxious about what was this going on. I started to track this person down and figure out what was happening. And it turned out that actually the person had said, yes, I'm happy to give you a 3-star review, but I don't really feel like it deserves any more than that. And there was some bickering back and forth, and I had to come in and mediate. And I ended up looking at the screenshots, and it turned out the person who gave the reading literally answered the question in 2 lines. And then the second question they asked basically said, come and join my group or something. Like, there was no real psychic answers or nothing that could be really verified. And what I realised was, okay, there are people out there who think I just need to just draw 1 or 2 cards and that's a reading, and that everyone should give me a 5-star review. And for me, you've got to keep in mind that a 5-star review on Facebook or on anything from Etsy to Fiverr to wherever you're selling your readings is a public document that people are going to see and they're going to buy and purchase on that. And most people expect a level that is professional when they're getting a reading, and they're going to give a professional review that people will buy from. And most people want to be honest enough to recommend you, but you need to have made sure you put effort into that reading. So I have seen the shoe on the other foot, so just keep that in mind as well. And you might have even had that experience happen to you. So, conclusion, people can be funny and uneasy about leaving reviews. People can get confused about leaving reviews. I've got some extra tips coming about how to overcome this. People can lose perspective when honouring their agreements when they see something for free. People can nitpick and lower your ratings and algorithm. And readers can expect 5 stars for a 5 to 10 minute effort, and that can also cause problems and misunderstandings between two people that are in a group together. But before we get into the tips, I really would like to take a moment to encourage anyone watching this to see these experiences through the lens of love. As I said, myself, I've learnt to love people who give me bad reviews. I've learnt to just send them unconditional love and move on. Sometimes I might think, okay, they just didn't like my course, it wasn't their cup of tea, that's fine. Sometimes if I think they've been a little bit unreasonable, again, I just try to get past it. Try not to let bad experiences or your fears that this might happen to you block your beautiful journey to being an online tarot reader or a psychic or a healer. Just love one another, and please, if this has happened to you, just let that person go. Try not to go deep into the ego where you want to fight with them. Just let it go, and that way you can just move forward to attracting people that are going to love your readings. So let's start looking at solutions. What can you do to decrease the possibility of this happening to you? And what can you do to increase the possibility of people being really excited to give you reviews? Now, keep in mind, these are not instant get-rich strategies. And this is a mistake that people make. They'll often jump into a group and say, I'll give 20 readings in exchange for Facebook reviews, and they might get, a quarter of that back. These are longer term strategies and a few brief tips that I have that come from my Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business program. These tips can reduce the likelihood of giving a reading and expecting a review and not getting one. It can increase the chance of getting a 5-star review. It can also give you these incredible super bonuses from making sure that your testimonials are not wasted, and further increase the likelihood of getting more social media followers. So the first thing, as I've referred to before, is timing. And again, this isn't a must. Like, if you're already doing this and it's working for you, then please just stick to it. But my suggestion is that a 5-star review is much more likely to be coming your way if it's at least 15 to 20 minutes of your time. Like, at least. Like, you want to be able to really get down to the bones of an issue for someone, because as I said, they're going to be expecting a professional level reading if they're going to be recommending you as a paid service. If you're doing a 3-card reading, I would avoid it unless it's like in How to Be Psychic, like say a 3-card oracle card reading, and there's some channeling and guidance and cards that are connected. So it's a session that's having all 3 of those things. Or again, you could do a 3-card tarot reading, but you need to make sure you're doing some kind of tuning in with their energy, channeling psychic information, and giving additional guidance as well. Not just pulling 3 cards and giving 3 dot points and answering the question in 5 sentences. If you're doing tarot, it is much better to use a horseshoe or a Celtic cross or a much bigger spread and getting more detail out of it so that you get a much more in-depth reading for the person that you're reading for. Please flesh out the past and the present. So as I mentioned before, in most instances, most people are going to want that review back in a week, but some events may be months and months or even years away. And you can build up your confidence and build up the confidence that that person's going to have in you and recommending you in your ability and your credibility by focusing on what is verifiable. So what they can say, yes, that's true. That's what's going on for me. So let's take a look briefly at the horseshoe spread. Now, if you're in my How to Be Psychic course, please don't worry if this doesn't make sense, because you can do the same thing with oracle cards in terms of just understanding what's present and past and how you can flesh that out. So in the 7-card horseshoe spread, there are 5 out of the 7 cards that you can really focus a lot of attention on that are not prophecy cards. So only the 3rd card, the near future, and that last card there, the Knight of Cups, which is the long term, are prophecy cards that talk about the future. Now, I'm not saying don't mention them. Of course you have to mention them because they're part of the journey, but you have the opportunity to explore and flesh out 5 different cards about what's gone on in the past, what's going on now, how that person is feeling, like the You card, what's going on in their external environment, and also what their secret hopes and their secret fears or their unconscious hopes and fears are. So you have 5 different opportunities to do that. So you can focus on fleshing that out as much as possible so that it's verifiable and they can say yes, and then they will trust you with the future stuff because they'll get that you actually know what you're talking about and they'll trust that. So this is a great way to make sure not only that you are giving quite a detailed reading time-wise, but you're also giving evidence reading. So readings that they can actually trust are going to be coming true. So what are alternatives to asking for reviews so that you can avoid some of those problems and challenges that I mentioned previously? Well, the first thing you can do is you can offer a free reading in a group. So like one of my study groups, the Tarot one or the How to Be Psychic one, or even in the Psychic Healing Hub. And you can specify that you want private feedback. And you can use my feedback template that I have that's included as a free resource as part of this video that you'll find in the description or below this video. And you can send that to them beforehand so they know everything that's involved with getting a reading from you. So you're just at this point asking for private feedback. After you've received their feedback, if it's positive feedback, gently ask them if they wouldn't mind giving you a review. And I always like to say, look, if you've got time, I'd really appreciate it, no pressure. So make it subtle, make it something like you're not guilting them, and just say, hey, I'd really love it if you could help me out, if you could do that. I'm so glad it resonated with you. If you ever get time, could you give me a review or a testimonial? The benefit and appeal to doing it this way, rather than straight away saying, I will give a reading in exchange for a Facebook review, is it doesn't feel forced that they have to leave the review. You're not in that energy of you have to do this, you promised me you would do this. As long as you're getting that feedback back, you're still at least getting something. You're more likely to know in advance what they will write in your review, because keep remembering that if you're getting low reviews on Facebook, they stay there forever. You can't get rid of them. And so that can lower your Facebook algorithm. So you're not always going to know what they're going to write in the review, and you might get something negative. So it's really helpful if you know in advance, because they've given you that positive feedback, what it is they're going to write. And it raises the bar for readings. I'm a big fan of this. I know there are a lot of people out there right now setting themselves up as professional readers and wanting to give readings for money. And I think it's fantastic. I'm super excited about this. The downside is it can be attracting a lot of people that aren't really that interested in helping people or tarot. They just want to make money. And so for me, I think it's important to raise the bar for psychic readings and tarot readings. And you do that by thinking of yourself as a potential client. Like think, well, if I was looking to purchase a reading from someone, would I rather look and review and research this person and all their reviews come from people who volunteered to review them because they just were really inspired to write about how great the reading was, or because they were forced to get something? So for example, recently I went onto Amazon to buy something and there was a product there and it said this product has been reviewed by people who were given it as a free gift kind of thing. And I straight away went, no, I'm not buying that, because again, you're not sure if people are being honest. I mean, you'd like to hope they are, but I'd much rather buy a product or a service that comes from people who genuinely gave the review from their heart because they were really moved to do it and it was an amazing experience for them. And interestingly enough, Udemy doesn't allow this. So over the years, people might have contacted me and say, can I get a free course from you in exchange for a review? And actually Udemy doesn't allow it. You can actually be disbarred as an instructor on Udemy for this, for that simple reason, because they want you to trust in these reviews that they are authentic, verified reviews. So think about that when you are the next time you're posting and basically people are jumping up and down for your free readings, but they're only posting because you gave them something. Sometimes it's nice to start setting that bar quite high and think about what kind of reader you want to be in terms of, would you choose to get a reading from yourself? Now, it's really important that you make it super easy for them to post a review. Over the years, I've seen that many people reach out to me and complain that they haven't gotten back their reviews, only to find when I've investigated further that it was actually that they couldn't figure out how to do it publicly and they couldn't set it to public, or they did post it and it hasn't shown up and so it wasn't their fault. Send them the link to your Facebook pages. Don't just say, please go find my page and review. Ask them if they do post that they need to set it to public or it won't be seen. And encourage them how to write the review. I don't mean write it for them, obviously, you're not cheating here, but most people get a bit stuck, like they might write, oh, it was a great reading, thank you. But if you say, hey, if you could just mention a few sentences on anything you really liked about the reading, that would really help me. So be specific. You don't have to be pushy, or as I said, you don't have to put words in their mouth, but you just have to kind of get them to flesh it out a bit so it's not just a one-line review. And that way other people who are looking for readers can see it and they can see if that's something they're interested in. Now, all of this has a special bonus benefit. I spoke previously to you about intention and motivation, but by doing this, by getting back to people through this process and asking them through feedback that you're looking for a public review, it lets people know, hey, I've given you this freebie to help you out. I hope you loved it. But I am running a business. And because of this, if they know that you're running a business and that's what your intentions are, they're much less likely to contact you to get more free readings. They're not going to see you as a free reading ATM. They'll see you as someone that, hey, I got a bonus reading from this professional reader. And they'll be excited to then think about recommending you so that other people will be attracted to your readings. Now, nothing is wasted. Even if somebody gets back to you in this process where you've given them the private feedback and they say, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable doing this, I don't want to be on Facebook, or I'm not on Facebook, or anything like that, ask them if they're willing to let you use some of their feedback as a testimonial, because you can cut and paste that and use it for your website or for other marketing. So this is something I teach people in my advanced tarot and psychic business program, how to do this, how to flesh it out and market yourself online using these testimonials. And you can even set up a Google Drive account and create Google Docs and keep a list of your current testimonials that are always available to cut and paste. This is a great way to just keep adding to them and be able to pull them and use them for any kind of marketing. So even if you're not getting that Facebook review, it's not going to be wasted. Come from the heart and share your dream. People are much more likely to want to support your growing business if they can see that this is your long-held dream, that this is your passion, that it's not just a way for you to make money. And again, there's nothing wrong with making money. I'm a big fan of that. I want you guys to make money, but also, if you're coming at it from a heart-connected way where people are seeing that this is something that you are deeply passionate about, then they're much more likely to want to help you grow your business, because they're seeing that they're supporting an entrepreneur, they're supporting someone who's building their dream, and that leaves people feeling really good. So as I mentioned, please don't nag or bully or pressure or guilt trip people into leaving you reviews. This very rarely works. Nobody wants to write a review where they feel pressured to write it. And even if they do, like, who knows what they're going to write? They might write something like, yeah, a great reader, enjoyed the reading, but wouldn't leave me alone when it came to getting a review. So you've got to be really careful about how you're interacting with people about getting feedback and reviews. So try to focus more on building up exchanges in Facebook groups. This is an amazing way to build relationships. For me, it's one of the most powerful ways you can get a lot of value out of being in Facebook groups such as mine, because you are sharing the journey with others who are in your exact same position. They know what your griefs are, they know what your concerns and fears are, because they're going through themselves. And you can support each other's businesses. You can ask each other business-related questions. You can also be able to give each other shout-outs and support when you see each other making offers that are paid offers in Facebook groups. Now, this may take a little longer to get lots and lots of different exchanges, and sometimes that's actually better because you might be building better quality conversions. So for me, I would much rather have 5 or 6 people that I am exchanging readings with and building up a relationship with to support each other's business than give away 30 readings to people who I might never hear from again. And you are much less likely to attract people that just want lots and lots of free readings but will never pay for a reading. I've found that through the exchange process personally, that people often recommended me when I was giving them exchanges, and vice versa. And on that note, a curious observation about the value and the quality of exchanges of readings versus asking for reviews and feedback in exchange for your free readings. In the many years that I have been an admin in the groups that I'm in and that I run, I can count on one hand the complaints I've received about exchanges not being honoured. Whereas I've done many mediations and I've managed many complaints and misunderstandings where students have felt demoralised, where they haven't gotten free feedback or reviews and they felt like they haven't been honoured. So I find that quite interesting for me. It's a real rare occasion that someone won't return your exchange. Now, say you've listened to all this and you're like, great, Sal, thanks for the tips. I'm going to definitely take some of those on board when I'm in your groups and other groups, but you still have really got your heart set on offering readings in exchange for Facebook reviews and testimonials. Like you really feel like that's worked for you or you just want to try it out. So you can't do it in my Facebook study groups, but you can do it in my Psychic Healing Hub under the hashtag Freebie Tuesday. So on Tuesday, you can give away free offerings. But having said that, keep in mind, this is entirely at your own risk. So if someone doesn't reply or give you a review or something goes wrong in the reading, I can't intervene if there's a bad experience. So just keep that in mind. But if you do still have your heart set on offering readings in exchange for reviews, you can do that in my Psychic Healing Hub. And I know there are also lots of other groups out there that will let you do that. Focus on self-acceptance and self-love. And I can't emphasize that enough when you are trying to set yourself out there as a healer and as a reader and as a tarot reader. Be prepared that not everyone is going to resonate with you as a reader. As I said before, like not everybody resonated with my courses. Not everybody resonates even with my readings. Like be kind and gentle to yourself if somebody says, I didn't get that, or I don't think that was a great reading, or if you do get negative feedback or reviews. And do get back in the saddle and focus on the good feedback. So if this is happening frequently to you, so say for example, it's happening quite a lot where you feel like you're just not resonating with clients or the feedback and the reviews they're giving you are not really that positive, you feel like you're not getting clear enough messages, you could have a block. Now, please don't worry. I find that nearly every psychic and healer I've ever met at some stage or another has experienced some kind of block. And in my Psychic Readings Intermediate Level course, where I talk about how to strengthen your clairvoyance, I explore 26 different common blocks that prevent beginning and experienced readers from getting messages or resonating with clients or attracting new clients. Like it is actually more common than you probably think. So there is solutions to this if you feel like actually it's happening to me a lot where people are saying that my reading isn't really resonating with them. So if you feel this is happening to you, the first thing you can look at is maybe working with a spiritual healer and seeing if they can dig around and see if it's coming from maybe your childhood, beliefs that are coming from your work experience, from your family beliefs, from money beliefs, from self-esteem. There can be so many things that might be blocking you. Or if you're not in a position at this stage to afford your own spiritual healer, or you'd rather try to do it for yourself long term, I have 3 different courses on Udemy that I've created from working with my clients that have had the same problem and my psychic development students that have similar blocks. One is called Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT Tapping. And this is a really gentle course that just goes into exploring any fears or anxieties that you have about maybe putting yourself out there, being worried you're going to get judged by maybe your friends or your family, feeling like you're a fraud, feeling like you're not good enough, not trusting your messages. So that course can really help with that. That's a lot of different experiences that I have had and I've cleared on myself and that I've cleared on clients, and I can teach you to clear it on yourself. I also have a bit of more deeper work, which is in my Remove Blocks to Psychic Power with Past Life Therapy, which goes into your past lives and gives you a past life regression and explores how healers and people who want to be tarot readers or psychic readers have often had these very negative experiences in their past lives and experienced trauma. And so in this life, they can have a lot of blocks around opening themselves up. And so that could help as well. And if you feel it's just money blocks, so say that you feel like you have money struggles no matter what job you're doing, then I created a course with the wonderful wealth coach Miriam Castilla on manifesting abundance for healers and psychics. So particularly people who want to attract more clients to their business and want to work on their money issues and shifting any blocks to abundance. So those courses can also help you if you're feeling like this is happening a lot, that you're not trusting your messages, or you're getting negative feedback, or you're not resonating with clients. Now, one big extra tip I will also give you is please clear your energy before you are posting. And that is something that I think a lot of people don't do. They jump on Facebook and they just make an offer and they don't actually think about what their energy could be attracting. Like they could be having desperate energy and like, oh, I have to quickly get as many testimonials as possible because I have to make money really quickly as a psychic or a tarot reader. And therefore, the energy is attracting other desperate people. Or they're kind of so frantic in their everyday life, they might be just popping onto the bus and think, oh, I'll quickly do it on the bus. Or they might be running around like maniacs in their very busy lives and they chuck on something on Facebook like wanting to read for 20 people for free in exchange for a review. And if you haven't cleared your energy, you might be projecting out there the kind of energy that is attracting not great situations. So please take a moment before you go online and clear your energy, whether it's a little bit of meditation, working with some crystals, like I teach in How to Be Psychic, bless your cards, or just take that moment to make sure that you are clear when you go online and make that offer. And that way you'll attract people who are coming from the heart and who are going, it's going to be a great experience for both of you. So as I said, these strategies do take time, but they, for me, are much better than offering 10 readings in exchange for Facebook reviews and only getting 4 back, or getting negative reviews that can mess up your algorithm because people don't know how to post or what to expect. So let's recap on how to get the best reviews. Consider your intention and communication and the loss of perspective that a lot of people in free Facebook reading groups can have, and protect yourself from that. Flesh out the past and the present and those verifiable cards that can be valid and that people will go, oh yes, that's exactly what's happening for me in those situations. Offer readings for private feedback and use my feedback template and ask subtly for a review. That way nothing is wasted. Make it really easy for people to give you reviews and testimonials. Build relationships with exchanges. And if you feel like there's lots of negative experiences that are coming to you when you are on Facebook groups or you're trying to build up your business, then consider that you might have some blocks and there's some options to choose from to clear them. And focus on self-love and clearing your energy. So now I'd like to move on how to get likes and social media subscriptions and social media traffic in Facebook groups without having to just give away free readings. So we're going to look at getting likes and subscribers and followers, some of the challenges that you may face, the pitfalls and things to avoid, and extra tips to improve your social media reach. So a bit of background about why I decided to make this video. So what started happening in my study groups is that people started jumping in recently in the last couple of years, and they just started posting that I will give a free reading in exchange for an Instagram follow, or I'll give a free reading in exchange for a YouTube subscription. And again, like the problem that I foresaw with the reviews, this can be really confusing for both sides, and it can leave the person who is the reader feeling very demoralized. So this section is going to give you more options of how to drive traffic to your social media channels without just giving away free readings. So as I mentioned, these are just a couple of tips from my bigger program, the Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business Program on the Psychic Healing Academy. And one other one I want to chuck in there. And one of the things I teach in that program when it comes to your planning and your productivity, and one of the most important keys to success when you are running an online tarot, psychic or healing business, is you need to start very early on valuing your time. When you are running an online business or even starting that business, you can waste so much time and you can end up really going down the rabbit hole trying to figure so many things out about how to start getting that business making sales for you and how to start building that business. It's really important early on that you try to make smart decisions in how you choose to invest your time. And please don't worry if you feel like you've already done this, because most beginning online business owners make this mistake, myself included. And for me, I feel personally, and others may feel differently, but I feel that giving away a reading for likes is a really big mistake. Because for me, I think you need to ask yourself, how much is your time worth? And it's important to ask yourself that quite early in the game. So if you are offering a reading in exchange for an Instagram like, for example, or some other social media liking, just say you end up with 250 likes, which in the online media world is not actually a lot of likes. That's actually quite fractionally small. That means you have given away 250 readings for 250 likes. Say you were charging $40 a reading. That means you've given away $10,000 worth of free readings to get 250 likes. Now, for me, that is not a great return on your time investment at all. It's not a great way to start out your business. Now you might say, but hey Sal, readers in my country charge different. They might charge $10, they might charge $100. So if that's not relevant to you, then just consider your own hourly wage. So what you are earning currently in your job, and then times it by 250 and add that up and think, wow, how much am I giving away? Because that's actually your money, because it's your time that you're giving away. And ask yourself, are there better ways for me to invest my time to build up my social media channels? And then you might come back and say, Sal, I'm not even charging that yet. I'm not charging anything yet. I'm still in the free thing. So building your social media reach can take time. It's not an overnight success issue, despite what people who run slick marketing companies try to tell you when they're trying to sell you things. It takes time. But as I said, that instant hit is not always guaranteed, because just because you've given away those 250 readings doesn't mean any of those people are going to buy a reading from you. And as I mentioned, that precautionary tale in my Facebook group, I was seeing again and again and again, and it was just breaking my heart, which is why I had to stop people and say, I'm sorry, you can't offer in my study groups anymore. You can't put those offers in there in exchange for a Facebook like for a reading, because I'd see someone spending 40 minutes on a reading and that person would like them and then a week later unlike them, or they would go off Facebook for ages and ages, so they wouldn't be getting any traction from that like. And I've heard of similar stories with Instagram of hotel owners and restaurant and cafe owners who have given free services to influential Instagram influencers, and basically those posts have been archived a year later. So basically they've wasted their money. And so just be really cautious and use your time and your money more wisely. There are much better ways to build up your social media channels than just giving away a whole lot of free services. So one thing you can do to start getting reach, as I said before, if you are in one of my private study groups, you can offer readings in my study groups in exchange for private feedback. And if you use the feedback template that's on my website, it can include your social media channels in the template, and you can encourage that call to action at the bottom. And you can do it in a way that's not sleazy. You can, when you're sending it out, or not pushy, when you're sending it out, you can say politely and gently, if this has helped you and if you have time, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscribe, and make sure there's no pressure attached to that. Just a polite call to action. Now, the benefit, again, appeal of this is it doesn't feel forced, or you have to do this, you promised. It gives you an opportunity to let them know what your channels offer and how you can help them, how they can help them. So I'm going to talk about that more later. Now, you might say, well, but there's a less chance they'll do it. They might not do it because they're not forced to do it. However, I would also argue there's less anxiety for you, because you're not sitting there feeling ripped off that they have liked you or unliked you, or that, they might liked you once and never liked anything you wrote again. And so that whole story just goes away. Now, the second way you can do it is you can also promote your channels in groups that allow it. So, for example, in my Psychic Healing Hub, once a week, I have an opportunity for readers and healers to be able to share their social media, and it's usually kind of Monday or a Tuesday, and it's a community activity that I set up where you can share your Insta, like I use the hashtag share your Insta, and everyone can post below and share their profile and share what it is that you get if you like to them, or what's in their profile, or what it is that is good about their channel, and you choose one in return to like and follow too. And it's the same with YouTube. It's like a sharing thing where you put your YouTube channel there and other people put theirs, and you follow each other, and that way you're building up a lovely community of checking each other out and being able to see each other in the groups and seeing each other on social media. But it also is a really fantastic way to get your name out there as well. So I do that once a week with a different social media each week. So one week's Instagram, one week's YouTube, the next week's your Facebook business page, and the next week's Facebook business groups. So that's another way you can do it. So you can either do it in my group, the Psychic Healing Hub, or you can do some research and find other groups that will let you do this. Now, this is something that I see all the time that I find quite funny, and probably because I used to do it too. When I often say to people, look, why don't you go and research other Facebook groups that allow it? So when people in my groups, like especially in my study groups, they want to do things to build up their business. And I said, look, you can't do that in my group. And, say what they want to do is not going to work for Psychic Healing Hub. I say, look, why don't you just research ones that allow that? And I often will get big resistance. Like people will say, no, that's too hard. I don't want to go and have to research Facebook groups and spend time looking to see if they allow that. I don't have time for that. Now, all I can say to that is just remember that $10,000 of free readings you're giving away. Like, it doesn't take that much time. It might take a few days of your time to spend time in groups and building relationships and answering questions and getting to know people. It's a much better way because people will like and follow people they recognize. So I would really invest your time in that rather than just giving away free things for one like. Now, this is another one that people have a lot of resistance to, and I understand why, because initially I did too, and I made a lot of mistakes doing this, but they don't invest in programs or courses that teach you how to market yourself online or teach you how to run an online business. Building an online tarot or psychic or healing business can cost money, and you can make a lot of really bad financial mistakes if you're not educated about how to get yourself out there. I've seen a lot of people think, well, I'll just jump on Facebook ads, and Facebook ads are actually one of the worst ways you can advertise your services. They have very little conversion rate if you're selling a reading, and there are much better ways to do it. And I find what's interesting, and I've talked about this a lot in the Manifesting Abundance course too, is that healers and readers often have the most resistance to spending money investing in how to educate themselves on online marketing and getting their name out there. Unlike other businesses, like people who are graphic designers or people who want to, who are even artists, they will often realize that, okay, I want to be an online artist, I've got to figure this out, and they'll invest in programs. But readers and healers seem to have a bit of resistance. And I know I did too in the beginning. When I first took my business online, I spent months going nowhere. Like I kept trying to do it all myself. I made tons of mistakes. I spent money on subscriptions I didn't need. And once I started buying programs that were specifically tailored to what it was I was trying to accomplish, and once I started investing in mentoring, then my business actually really took off online. I really up-leveled to another level. So solutions for that. So for example, I have an advanced intuitive tarot and psychic business certification training program on the Psychic Healing Academy that I mentioned previously, where some of this content I've shared today comes from that as well. And in that there's advanced tarot content and advanced channeling and clairvoyant healing and how to become a clairvoyant healer. You get lots more one-on-one feedback from me on your readings. You learn how to get work online, how to market yourself online, how to set up a website and what to avoid. So I do a whole analysis of different websites that aren't working and how to make your website pop and how to make it work for this industry. I talk about branding and how you can create your own branding with graphics and different free subscriptions and programs you can use to build up your business as well as your branding. I go into great detail about how to market yourself on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook in a lot of different details, how to set up Facebook groups and business pages, also planning and productivity, and some of those essential steps and online tools that you do need. And I go through, for me, it's important to always give you free options and then then mid-range options, and then higher options for those who are on a limited budget, and also how to market yourself in a heart-centered way so you don't feel like you're constantly hustling and you don't feel like you're feeling pushy or sleazy. And you also get business mentoring with me that's tailored individually to your business. So within that, I'll look at your branding, or I'll look at your website, and I'll help you come up with whatever logo or name, and we nut that out together. So you can find that on saljade.com/advanced tarot if you're interested in a bigger, more substantial program like that. Or if you have a more limited budget, then keep in mind Udemy has courses too. There isn't probably one course that will have all that, and it won't necessarily be tailored individually to your business and what you want to accomplish, but at least you can start. You can study some things on Udemy like YouTube and Facebook, and you can learn and try things out and build and grow your business and start to thrive and prosper. So my big advice, start investing in programs and courses. For me, unless you have all the time in the world. If you've got lots and lots of time, like say you're currently unemployed and you're like, well, I've got hours and hours of free time, then you can start looking at doing it yourself and figuring it out for yourself. But it does take a lot longer. Now, I can hear some of you out there saying exactly what I used to say when I started taking my business online, and that is, Sal, can't I just learn it for free on YouTube? Why should I pay when there's so many people that give away free advice on YouTube? And I would say, yeah, you absolutely can, but it can take 10 times longer to learn, and it can add to your confusion because there's just so much information out there on YouTube, and often videos might be a bit older, things have changed in technology, but also it's just so much to choose from that you can often end up having to wade through so many things just to get a few nuggets of what it is you need. You also don't often get specialised help from the teacher. Like, they're not as likely to answer your specialised questions. And as I said, you've got to shift through lots and lots and listen to people talk about, oh, here comes my cat and this is where I live in this town. And like you get a lot of waffling at the beginning with a lot of YouTube videos, I've noticed, as well as ads. And so for me, I'd much rather just buy something that I can get straight to the point as quick as possible. And you can often get bombarded by emails. Like, you might think, oh, I'll sign up for that free thing. But then, and I've had this experience a lot, I recently did that, signing up for a free thing, and I must have gotten 50 emails in a month. Like, I couldn't believe how many emails I got. And the time it took, and the energy, and uncomfortable, and then finally irritation I got from constantly deleting these emails and unsubscribing. I would have just rather paid for someone to tell me what it was I needed to know. And as I said, some marketing advice is not great for heart-centered businesses like tarot or psychic readings and healings, and it could put people off. Like, it's not, for me, it's not a great thing to be pushy and the steak knife thing, but there's more, buy this and you'll get this, and I'm guaranteed you can't not make money. Like, I'm not a fan of those kind of strategies, and a lot of online marketing programs can offer that, and a lot of the YouTube stuff I've seen can offer that too. And I often find personally that a lot of YouTube videos aren't always that structured very well, and I can easily get lost in the rabbit hole, as I mentioned previously. So again, if you're time rich, that can work. Like, if you've got lots and lots and lots of time to do it, then yes, you can sift through. But for me, I know that my time is quite valuable. And even at the beginning, I recognized I was just spending hours and hours and hours figuring out how to do one thing that I could have bought a course and learned how to do in 10 minutes. So that was my path about why I did it. And so that is something I recommend if you don't have a lot of time. Now, this is again another mistake that I see a lot of people doing in all sorts of different Facebook groups, and they don't give people a reason to follow them. They just chuck out there, hey, check out my YouTube channel. And the first thing I think when I see that is, why check out your YouTube channel? Like, it's not enough these days in the online marketing world to just say, check out my channel, when you will have someone who is scrolling and probably passing maybe 30 different check out my YouTube channel. Like, you have to give them a reason. There's thousands of channels to choose from, and most people have limited time and concentration. So give them a reason, make them curious about what it is that you do. And I can't stress that enough. So the 5 compelling reasons that I've found that people will follow you on social media is they know you. So they've heard of you in that way of they've seen you around in Facebook groups, you've built exchange relationships with them, you've got that connection, they trust you. So they might have bought from you before or seen a video you've done before and they got results out of it, like on YouTube, and they really feel like, oh, I want to keep following this person. Your post intrigues them and they're curious. So you've got something that they're thinking, oh, that's interesting. Or it solves a problem that they have right now, or they're well known and famous. So they're the main reasons that people will follow people. So you need to make sure, unless you're already well known and famous, that you are engaging in some of those first four. And you might say, yeah, but Sal, won't people like and trust me if I give them a free reading? Now, as I've said, you are learning from my experience earlier, not always, sometimes, but it's not a guarantee. And you can just attract the free reading shoppers who just want you to read for them and they run away and you never hear from them again. And as I said, you can have hit and misses, end up giving 30 readings, very little response, and they also can always unlike and unfollow you. But people do get excited and they do get invested and they do get very much more curious about who you are and what you can offer them when you're offering content. So by content, and as I said, I explore this a lot in my Advanced Tarot program, how to do this, you're looking at creating videos, blogs, reels, picker cards, graphics, memes, engaging content. Spend time creating content that solves problems. Yes, it takes time, but it's much better in the long run than one reading for one like. So, recap for getting social media likes and follows. Consider your time as valuable. Your longer style readings are worth much more than just one like. Give readings for feedback and then direct them to your social media channels. Share in groups that allow you to share your channels, and that includes a Psychic Healing Hub, or spend some time researching more. Invest in learning social media and marketing in a heart-connected way. Give people a compelling reason to follow you, so start creating content and building relationship and solving problems. So I hope that helps, and I hope that's really inspired you. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now and think that's just too much, I don't think I want to do this anymore, don't worry. I was like that when I first started, when I was investing in my mentors and my business coaching, and when I was buying programs, I was like, oh, this is way too intense. This isn't what I signed up for. But it does get easier and it does get kind of exciting in a challenging way. And I just hope that you don't feel like you have to solve this overnight. As I said, it takes time. It doesn't have to be done all at once. You can just take a few little suggestions I've given you today and start putting your feet in the water. But I do hope in the long run that this video somehow has given you lots of ideas and saved you some time in the long run, because that is incredibly important to me. But also that it's those times where you feel like you've had negative experiences that you feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this. This actually does happen in this industry, but there are ways to overcome it. So if there's any other questions you've got, or you'd like to find out more about anything I've mentioned in this video, you can just go to www.saljade and you'll find all of my Udemy courses there, as well as my Advanced Tarot program and any other offers. And if you've got actual questions, like personal questions that you'd like to ask me about, just go to saljade.com/contact. So I hope this video has helped you, and thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. And as I said, if you've got any questions, please just reach out.